So I only discovered gravel riding a few years ago, but the more and more I looked into it, I realized that these truly are the Swiss Army knife of bikes. I'd always had a huge appreciation for road riding, but there was the cost barrier, and let's face it, if I have any extra cash, I'm gonna put it into my mountain bike. So road bikes weren't an option. When I started to really look into it, gravel bikes seemed like they might be a viable option for myself. I had a desire to go longer distances, see more towns, see more routes that are out there, and just experience more of that longer distance endurance riding. So in 2017, I picked up the GT Grade with Tiagra group set, and that's an incredible bike. It's taken me on thousands of kilometers of epic adventures, one of which being the world famous Paris to Ancaster bike race. Famous for its mix of gravel, road, single track, mountain bike trails, and epically deep mud chutes, the P2A is an epic ride. Now I'm heading into my 5th year of doing the Paris to Ancaster. Well, I do the 45, I do the St. George to Ancaster, but in that time, I've learned a lot about myself. In my first year of doing the race back in 2016, I was riding my stepdad's 26-inch mountain bike. I believe it was a Diamondback Topanga with some semi-slick tires on it. And I made it through the race. That's all I was really looking to do. I think I came in 300th out of around 578, and I did okay. Then in the following year, I was riding a 29-inch hardtail mountain bike, and I believe I came in around 136th out of around 170-ish riders that year. So an improvement, it wasn't bad. Now going from 2017 to 2018, I switched my bike yet again. Now I'm riding the GT Grade, and this is where you're gonna see the really big difference. You switch from a mountain bike and get a little more fit and a little more confident. I bumped from 136th up to 62nd out of 570-ish riders. Then last year, I came in 42nd overall of that 45-kilometer race. So I could see that incremental difference with the mountain bike changes, but once I jumped up to that GT Grade, and I had more confidence and a little more fitness knowing that my riding ability was at a point that I could do much better in that race, I saw massive improvements in myself, and I went from just being someone who wanted to finish the race to say they could do it, to someone who started to believe that they could actually contend in this race. So in the last couple of years, I've set some pretty unrealistic goals for myself since getting my gravel bike. I felt that additional speed, and I thought that that skinnier tire will help me that much more without doing the training. Clearly it doesn't work out, because when I said I'm gonna come in top 30 and I'm gonna beat my good buddy Pete, neither of which happened. I did still improve on my time, but not to the extent that I wanted to. So in going with this theme of setting really unrealistic goals for myself, I'm gonna do it again. I think that this time around, we're only in February now, that if I do the training and I stick with not eating McDonald's every single day, I think I can make this one happen. So, drum roll please. I'm setting the goal, and I'm going for a top 10 finish this year in the Paris to Ancaster in 2020, because I've already told myself this is the last year I'm doing the 45K. Next year, no matter what, I'm going up to the 75, and I'm gonna do my best to come in top 300 in that one. I don't know, but this is the goal for this year, top 10 in the 45-kilometer Paris to Ancaster race. Now, obviously, there's a few things that I've learned over the years that are gonna help me attain this goal, and some things that I know that I need to do to really push myself in this race to actually make it in that top 10 finish. So here they are. First things first, lessons that I've learned last year and in previous years. Purchase the Wave 1 ticket. Now this is key, because you need to be in that first peloton going out in the 45K, because then you're not trying to chase down that lead group and you're already there chasing their tail, staying behind, just, you know, keeping pace early so that you're able to stick with them until the end. Now last year we were in Wave 1, Pete and I, but we made the mistake of kind of hanging around and warming up a little too long around the school. You need to get to that Wave 1 start line much earlier to get yourself in a good position. Again, so you're not jockeying for a good position, just before the race starts and have no weave in and out of people the whole way to get with that lead group. So another big one for me is layering down. We get mixed weather in the Paris to Ancaster because it's such early spring, but I tend to run fairly warm. So unless it's 0 degrees, I'm gonna be going bib shorts and probably just my one long sleeve merino wool jersey that I have, because last year when I wore a layer underneath that, I got way too warm way too quickly, and I wasted time trying to unzip on the final Martin Road climb, and it just crushed me at the end. So I'm gonna wear less. So step 2 to completing my goal of a top 10 finish in this year's Paris to Ancaster race: train earlier. So only thing I asked for Christmas this year was a smart trainer. I got my smart trainer. I bought a whole second wheel set, just a rear wheel, cassette, and indoor training tire. And I got Zwift. So I'm trying to get on my bike 3 times a week. I've set a monthly goal of 255 kilometers, I believe, just get my legs back up and spinning. I did do the FTP test, and I believe I'm sitting at around a 255 watt average, which I don't know a lot about that stuff, but I don't think it's too bad considering I haven't been riding all winter and I've only been playing hockey once a week to keep myself fit. So don't think it's bad. If it is, let me know in the comments below. So step 3 of getting that top 10 finish, I had to do a little research. I had to actually look and see who the top 10 finisher was last year and how they actually did and what their average speed was. Last year, my average speed was a 24.7 kilometer an hour, and I finished the race in and around an hour and 52 minutes. Again, it was an improvement from the year prior and a huge improvement from the first time that I did my race, but I'm gonna need to do exponentially better and go faster if I want this top 10 finish. So once I did my research, I actually saw that I'm gonna need to maintain a 26.6 kilometer per hour average speed, and I'm gonna need to finish about 8 minutes faster overall. So all of those other things that I talked about previously are definitely gonna come in handy. Don't make the mistakes that I made. Get to the start line earlier. Just pay attention to signage overall, and you'll be able to get there a little bit easier. So 26.6 kilometers an hour, and I'm gonna need to finish in at around an hour and 44 minutes. And that's still not a guarantee. That's the bare minimum to make it in that top 10 position. And not only last but not least, for the last step, most fun and I think most important is getting a new bike. Totally kidding, it's not really in the bike, it's in the rider. Obviously, we all know that to extent. But the last few years, I've been finding that my bike hasn't done the things that I really wanted it to do. It's been a fantastic first gravel bike, but it doesn't have much tire clearance, so I can only cram a 33C tire in there currently. It says you can go up to a 35 is what GT says they can get it up to, but once you get mud and gunk stuck up in there in that wheel well, you're not getting much further, so 33 is where it maxes out. It also still has quick release front and rear wheels, which isn't great when you're putting down lots of power. You can start to bend those quick release axles, and it's just not nearly as reliable as the through axle. So through axle is another big shopping point for me. And finally, I've really been looking into bike packing. I think that longer trips and that comfort that you get from knowing you have everything you need on you is such a huge part of bike packing and just longer distance endurance riding. And that's something that the GT grade doesn't give you, are those mounting points. So I am looking at a new bike and I'm working out the details right now, but you're gonna have to wait until the next episode to find out what bike I end up going with. So like, comment, and subscribe if you want to find out what bike that I'm looking at, and 99% sure I will be getting it. Leave a comment down below, any other tips that you might have for me in making my top 10 finish, and I'm stoked. It's gonna be a great year of riding bikes. The Locals series is still happening. I am working on episode 3, as well as my working title is 110 to Pecanjigum, which is that big ice road challenge that a bunch of riders did, and I'll have some more videos coming at you on that. See you in the next one.